I mean beautiful. It is a beautiful afternoon, and tomorrow is going to be the beginner stunt clinic, so we're trying to get a couple people assembled and do some helping of the beginner and the intermediate people tomorrow. But in the meantime, we got a nice sport day. There's a lot of guys sport flying out here. Yeah, a model you don't really see that often. In fact, I don't even know who this belongs to yet. Kind of cool, kind of unusual. Well, some guys are out here practicing their racing. Some people are practicing their endurance. A couple of stunt flyers here, and you know, we only have an hour or so, and then we're going to have to get back to the house, back to the sick fish, and then we'll be coming back out here tomorrow. But take a little walk around, cajole with a couple of the guys that are here. You know, a lot of times the most fun you can have in the event is just helping other people, or just hanging out while some of the guys that are trying to learn the skills necessary to compete or just enjoy stunt. You don't have to make every day the high-tech day of the year, and today should be a nice relaxing day. Anyway, we'll be coming back tomorrow, basically trying to line up as many people as we can to help with the stunt clinic. Carlos Serra is responsible for running it, and I think it'll be a good one.
Out of a Warbird manual, and designed it, drew it on paper, and no, it's one I always wanted to make because it's so home.
That's really unusual, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
I love semi-scale everything.
Yeah, nobody ever saw one like that. That's why I made that.
Yeah. And you got the plans out of a magazine? I mean, a drawing, the side views, or whatever you want to call it? Oh, you just did it by eye?
It from a picture.
Yeah, like you did the Spirit of St. Louis, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that was a plan out of a 1934. That was a plan.
This is kind of a neat little model.
Yeah, I always...
You get to fly it yet, or?
I flew it once today. It was running rich, but it's, uh-oh.
Uh-oh is right. Uh-oh! That's an uh-oh.
I got a 40 in it.
Looks like it's got a big enough wing.
Yeah.
Should be able to do maneuvers with it and stuff.
Warbird, though.
Well, with Brodak having all those Warbirds, you almost can have your own event.
Yeah.
You could have your own, you know, like everything is, how much does it weigh?
I don't know. Pick it up. I didn't weigh.
Oh, it's light.
Yeah.
There's nothing to it.
Yep.
Yeah, it's got a nice airfoil wing and everything. It should be a cool little plane.
Cut all the wing, the ribs out, you know, individually, and cap stripped them, and
yeah.
made a tank.
And what is this, a model of a Stromovich?
Yeah, I can't pronounce the name because I'm
I can't either. I am Polish and I can't pronounce it.
I-16.
Oh, okay.
They used it in the Spanish War.
Really?
Yeah. And it was a...
It looks a little bit like Bruce the Buffalo.
Yeah. And it said in the book, I think they copied this after a GB.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got the... That's really a nice little job.
Early 40s, they made quite a few thousand of them.
Definitely cool. Definitely unusual, too.
Then they fought the Germans with it.
Yeah. How's he doing, by the way?
Good.
Haven't seen him all season. Yeah, I wonder if he's doing stuff.
I don't know. He got married. Last time I talked to him, he wanted to get together, but said he's been very busy on the weekends.
Yeah, maybe we'll see him tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get married, you got to set up a house and everything.
Yeah,
Sure. Now we're back home, and today was the day. In fact, I just did it. I released the fish that I had been injecting and medicating back into the pond, and one unfortunately didn't make it, but two have. And supposedly the sign that they're getting better is that they eat. Well, believe me, the two guys that have been injected, and there's one right over there, Lucy, that orange one, and she's been eating since I got home. So anyway, that kind of an upbeat thing. Karen's got a lot of her planting ready to go here, and we'll have, I hope, start to get some of the planting in. Oh, I've been watching this mama bird here. This isn't the bird. Where the hell's the mama? Mama's been making a nest here, and I've been watching since the day the eggs hatched. In fact, it's right up here in these hedges. Can you see the babies in there? I don't know if we're getting a view of these babies, but they're in there. Now look, this nest is just eye level high, so every day when I go by here, I'm kind of bringing them up with me. And last year I tried to save a couple that fell out of the nest, and unfortunately that didn't work, but I guess being a good Samaritan has its downside. Anyway, it's time to do some planting and then get down to that clinic tomorrow. Now, at the end of the last day we were down in Middlesex, I had a heart-to-heart talk with Joe, and he's basically in the same boat I am. His personal life has been altered by work, and time is really at a premium. So this is a time when it's nice to have a rack full of fully buffed out, ready to fly airplanes and not have to worry about getting new stuff. And there really is something special about coming home from a day of flying or a day of kibitzing, coming back, relaxing in a hammock a little bit, having a nice cold diet soda, and being with the woman I love. And boy, it really makes your heart do well when you know you can, well, maybe we know we really can't guarantee survival, but it's just nice to know we can help these guys get better when they're sick. These guys really have become good friends. This is one right here that was real sick. Anyway, off to work in the garden. We're off to see the wizard, the wonderful Wizard of Oz. Here at the Middlesex Dog Show, combination dog show and model plane seminar. Where the hell are all these dogs going? Look at this one.
He's trying to get laid now.
Don't worry, you can eat him, no problem. No.
That's a female.
Uh-oh.
She say, oh, I got me a...
Hello? Well, unfortunately, it looks like we don't have a really nice day. In fact, looks like it's going to rain any minute. And we only have a few hours to spend here. We had thought originally we were going to have more time, but it's just not working out that way with all the personal stuff going on at home. You going to jail too?
Why don't we fly here?
Yeah, this looks nice. Look at this parking lot. I like this parking lot better than the flying field. Yeah, the field is still underwater, unfortunately. If I said if this field is underwater, wow.
It has a better effect because it's not nominated. You can just expand double.
Carlos, you do anything with those gear? The carbon fiber gear yet, or
Not
you didn't do
yet,
it?
I didn't finish yet.
If you finish the mold, give it to me. I'll mold up some sets for you.
Yeah, I'll
I got plenty of resin and tow.
I want to try that, definitely. Wendy gave me all the materials to do it. I made a mold already
That's a nice kit.
for a carbon fiber kit because it's a knot. See how we...
Just getting back into
That's not...
First flight and some very tentative, looks like it's going to rain any minute weather here. I don't know, we haven't been real lucky. Brian Kiefer's taking a first warm-up flight. We haven't been real lucky with the weather. Our club field is still underwater, as you probably heard in the background. This field, they're facing all kind of political problems trying to get the field. They don't let you fly before 9:30. It used to be 8 o'clock. They don't let you fly when there's a baseball game. They don't let you fly when there's a soccer game. They don't let you fly when mouse and mice are on the field. Birds are flying over. I mean, it's just been a political nightmare here. But it looks like they got permission to fly today. And we'll obviously take whatever we can. I'm guessing within another week, the Circle Burner field will be back on semi-dry land. Brian Kiefer Jr. National Champion, of course. He's going to be challenged big time this year by Kyle Freeman, who's home secretly working on his Tucker Special. I'm sure by now it's almost ready. And knowing Kyle and knowing Banjak, that team is going to put together a real good competitive package. Brian didn't bring his new plane today. He's got a new plane. Didn't bring it today. But I've heard there's 7 different metallic colors on it, so it should be a showstopper. And a lot of checkerboards. He's the king of checkerboards. How many colors on his new plane, Ron? 7 or 8. You got $400 worth of paint on a plane. Yeah, I know the feeling. Buying that paint's expensive. You wouldn't believe the field if you saw it. The circle burner field? It's a mess. Now, we had originally planned to spend till about 12 o'clock today down here, but with the look of the weather, we may be cutting that even short. The whole problem with having a family, there's always something to do. All right, just starting up on the other circle there, so we'll get the end of this flight and we'll go over there. Nice to see these 10-year-old planes still flying, but you definitely are the champion, Marty. Yeah. Marty's got a 20-year-old. This one is 10 years old. Get these old things up in the air and flying.
That's the correct one.
Socks. Nice. I like the socks. Did you wear those to church this morning? Amazing, we seem to have a resurgence of people who've dug up old planes. This one is really old. Brian's got the 10-year-old Griffin, and Marty's got a 20-year-old Invader, and I'm just old. People, you know, have a 10-year-old model that's in at least even close to this shape. Especially one that's been abused. Dropped off of trucks.
Yeah, everything.
And not many planes survive the kind of abuse you guys put this through. Jeez.
You know
Unbelievable.
How many?
Got your plane here? Come on, bring it out. We'll give you a hand. That's what we're here for. This guy looks ready to win the Nats here. Look at that smile. Come on.
Yeah, that's what we've decided.
Ron, if you all of a sudden leave for the Bahamas and don't pay me that money you owe me, I'll be impressed. Yeah, but when you're a crook, you go to jail. What's the big deal? Let them sweat in jail. I wouldn't get involved with them. In fact, I'd testify against them. The hell with them. Carlos Serra taking a little warm-up flight here. Actually, it looks like it's going to rain, but it hasn't rained yet.
I don't think we're going to get rain.
They said, well, I got stuff to do this afternoon. They said this afternoon it's going to rain, but it looks like it's going to hang in. Hanging tough. Nice little Sequoia. Carlos made up a mold to make carbon fiber gear. We're going to be seeing that soon, I hope. See a nice little scale feature for the plane. How much you owe him? He owes me his life, so bring me back a life. Looks like we have the optional Schnurly Rich run here. Come on, Carlos. Nice little ship, the Sequoia. Hey! Nice little ship for a future Brodak kit, a Sequoia. Very popular plane. I don't know, Carlos. It sounds like a rich run to me. I wouldn't be getting too cute here. I think you made the same decision I would have made. Live to fight another day. So after he bails out, he makes a liar out of me. Like I said, he's probably going to finish the pattern. That's coming out a little better now. Seriously, that's talking about one of the things that we were originally scheduled to be here today to help some of the beginners. A lot of the beginners, they get a rich run. This is really supposed to be a beginner clinic. They get a rich run, they go for some of these maneuvers anyway, the motor will shut off inverted. Or even worse, you lose the plane. So we do have either a way rich or way lean run. When it's lean, you don't want to do maneuvers. You want to basically save the motor. Anyway, you're making me crazy, Carlos. I'm not going to buy you coffee when I go to McDonald's. That's all there is to it. Like I said, he may have to land this inverted. Hey, Carlos, you're lucky that didn't cut inverted.
Step on the guy's line.
All right, the party can start. Marty's here.
My God. I've beaten all my stunt flying from last year in 2 days. Keep this up, I'm going to have to show up at contests.
You may have to build a plane, or even, God forbid, buy some fuel of your own instead of borrowing it. You know they sell this stuff.
It's sitting out there.
Have you seen this? They actually sell fuel, Marty, you know?
To win these,
your back pocket. You go in your back, but you take out the wallet and you buy fuel.
You know I have money because you gave me
Oh, all that money you're making corrupting the government or whatever you're doing for a living.
Hey, give him a break. At least he's getting something.
Yeah, at least he's not on welfare. Not yet, anyway. This is nice, Marty. In case you got thirsty, they put a bowl out here for you. In case any of the stunt flyers get real thirsty, you get to drink out of the dog's bowl. Oh, man.
the dog bites you.
They just can't take a joke, can they? Using approved long, big line reels.
Right.
And he definitely went for new lines, except that was when, in 1990 or 80 or 30 or when? Don't bother buying any equipment and supporting the hobby industry, Marty. Oh my God. True story, this plane really is 10 years old. It really did go off the back of a truck on a Jersey Turnpike. Has a completely new fuselage and the wing and the gear blocks and the tail and I don't know what else. It's been a fun job. It's been repaired so many times I don't even remember which parts of it are still old and still new. Now, one thing I've noticed over the years, Marty, is how organized you are.
It looks like they may hang in here. I don't know.
You know, I think
May luck out.
Actually, nobody will have showed up
Yeah.
because it was going to rain.
What?
But
By me, it was raining. It was raining when I left.
This morning at about 10 to 7, I heard a few raindrops from the aluminum awning.
Yeah.
I looked out and see the clouds.
When I was having my coffee, I looked out and maybe I'd take a right anyway. Diner time is good time too. You're never far from the diner down here. I see you have the official unapproved by Windy. Look at this. Where did you get this thing? You have all 80s stuff here. How about upgrading a little bit?
There's only one hobby shop buying it, and they had a fuel pump.
John Brodak would pass out if he saw you using his junk. Look at this. Oh, you got everything old. We need new stuff. Take a trip up to my house. Take a trip up to my house. What a guy.
You know, there are people around here who are just saying, you're out at the flying field? This is good.
Yeah, you gotta learn you can buy this stuff, you know? You can actually go to the store and purchase these things.
There's no stores around here.
Wow.
The only store that was here had that pump as of Friday. I was without a fuel pump.
I got them right in the truck. Take it, throw that from home. You gotta get upgraded equipment. Not even official pro stuff.
I'm an official person.
It's the alligator clip to the fuel filter.
Maybe I could go.
Didn't forget anything in 20 years.
Maybe I could go to the back and get Rookie of the Year again.
Nobody, or even Walgas probably forgot by now. Adam Usko was Rookie of the Year a year. Stood by.
I have a feeling it's going to be a good day later. I'm going to be sorry I have to leave. It's terrible. Oh, Marty, this is embarrassing. You got all these professional stunt flyers watching on TV. Oh, I don't know. Professional. They used to with nothing impressive. Uh-oh. Unprepared. Oh my God, unprepared. This won't do for a Rookie of the Year. I'll have to give you one of those little orange batteries that the wires don't go into the prop when you start. You ever see them? You can buy them at the store, Marty. All you need is money. Uh-oh, he's got another battery. Oh,
there's a problem.
How did I know this was coming?
I just want to see if...
Oh my God. Be prepared. Oh, I'm telling you, this is not good for my image, Marty. Tips for beginners. Always have your battery, never use wires that go into the propeller. Remember, these are little tips, Marty. Buy those little orange batteries that don't go into the prop. Oh, look, he's got real wires. Look, I'm so impressed.
Hey, these are stolen. Are you kidding?
I'm sending this tape to President Nixon as soon as I get it. They look like my old wires. Are you sure you didn't steal them from me?
Not very well.
Huh.
Except,
now with Ron Kiefer in jail for life, I mean, you and I are going to be the only two stunt flies. Look at this. What junk you have. Oh, I'm going to the van to get you some human stuff. Peggy, know you're on a tight budget here. What, does she keep you on a short leash or something? I thought I was the only one on a short leash. One link. Oh, man. Yes. Watch this. This is what you do with these kind of setups. Just throw them in the weeds.
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 Oh. Oh, we had nothing to do today anyway. This is no problem. Be prepared. All right.
You're lining up there.
We're waiting to fly while Marty's out here kibitzing. As I can possibly believe. Beyond here. Look, you're gonna put the batteries through your wing.
I'll never buy one of them.
Oh. Go ahead. Embarrass me. No. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Marty hasn't been around long enough to know that I don't go back and erase footage when somebody humiliates themselves on tape. That is true. Those, seriously, good tip for any beginner. Wires go into a battery. When they get caught in a prop, you usually wind up with a broken prop, something hitting you in the face. Really, having that kind of dangerous stuff is not a cool idea. Oh, it's so nice having Marty back. He was, the true story, he was the '83 Rookie of the Year. That was the first year I ever made the Walker fly-off. Was '83, was the first time. So him and I share a moment in stunt history before it became so political that it's even he reminds me of this. Back then we had nothing to argue about. We were all just worried about who was going to not crash at the end of the day. So good memories being with Marty. He really is a jewel. And of course, what's nice, he showed up to help the beginners today. Always willing to give some of his time and energy. I've said that before, but even when he was out of the event, he always ran contests and donated his time and energy back. So It really is nice to share a circle with such a cool guy, even if he doesn't know how to start an engine or get a glow plug lit. Now we're going to be helping him out. He was telling everybody, a couple days ago we were flying, he was telling everybody his new job, what he does for a living. I'm glad it isn't in the hobby industry. Really, he does some high-tech computer stuff. Kind of cool. I guess in a world of computers, you never get the battery wire caught in a prop or something like that. Anyway, a legit 20-year-old model. This plane was around when Lulu Allgas used to live here, when the hobby was a much different entity than it is now, and it was a much more of a less arguing and more flying kind of hobby, and I hope we're going back in that direction. It's good having Marty. Glenn Meadows building a plane. I know Allgas is still flying, all the old guys. Simo's still flying down in Florida. All the old guys that used to be part of the whatever it is that we were back then. The gang that couldn't fly straight. Dick Maddox. We got to get Dick Maddox back in a hobby. Active. Get Dick Maddox and chain him to a motor. Now, funny, I just thought of Dick Maddox. Dick Maddox, this is a true story. You ask anybody. Was flying at Edison and got the prop. The prop caught the battery clip wire and took the whole nose off his plane and almost sent him to the for surgery. That is an absolute true story. You ask anybody in the Philly area that remembers. Dick Maddox. As I remember these things, see, my memory is so bad that when I remember some of these things, it's like a miracle. True story. And the point is, when you're trying to help beginners, you're really being able to recommend safe habits is really a good thing. Almost everybody sticks their finger in a prop or does something crazy. In my case, more than once. Same as working in a machine shop where you look around and everybody's missing fingertips or whatever. You really hate to see that happen unnecessarily. Especially now with so many new people in the hobby. I mean, we just have 15 new people in the Circle Burner Club alone. Anyway. Good man, Marty Chicola. Another thing that happens with these setups is the wires usually wind up touching or connecting or something and setting somebody's stuff on fire.
Flashings?
Yeah, look at the little wheel pants. They're just made out of a little piece of tin stock. By the way, that's a cool idea for.
And they go right through grass. Is not a problem.
Yeah, right. Nothing hooks up in the grass. That's a great little idea.
So this has worked out pretty well in these
20 years. They haven't.
20 years they haven't.
Yeah.
They haven't gone.
And obviously, you can get in there and replace the wheels real easily. That's another nice little benefit.
Yeah, this thing right now they're only bolted on with a little bit of Loctite.
Yeah.
This club too. When most guys try to file their corporate reports with the state.
Over in the park.
They just butcher.
But I mean, it was just.
I think I got a cup of coffee from Middlesex.
A quarter mile.
And I got 2 T-shirts.
Al, it's not raining up by us? No rain? I just a little bit this morning.
You got a couple. Hey, you want to buy one?
I want to look at one. I haven't seen one yet.
I didn't even paint it, I didn't sand it or nothing. It came yesterday.
Three-ply plywood that came with mine about a month ago.
This is Tom Morris's little handle?
Yeah.
That's a
I had
good
to
deal.
sand it down. I had to glue these parts on. I had to drill out the bar.
Don't let these loosen up. I got news for you.
Yeah, I'm
Could ruin your whole day.
I'm a little concerned about those and how you do that.
I got Loctite on them.
I would be thinking bend it even so it can't come out even in an emergency.
Hey, for $5 on it.
For $5, what the hell do you want? You want the guy to give you flying
So for
lessons?
$5, You run cable through here, center drill in here, and clamp it the old way.
Any handle for $5,
No.
including those sleazy Sullivans.
Boy.
15 degrees.
And it's...
Al Knight looks like he has a little bit of a stomach ache here. Oh, I shouldn't have had all those donuts this morning. Oh my God, all those donuts. Al, you should give karate lessons. Boy, I never noticed. He's really a chopper. Oh, those donuts. Now here's another little tip, beginner tip. The pattern ends, you should always fly level. You should never, unless there's a compelling reason, like I can't find the plane, to do extra maneuvers. The reason is, you do wing overs in the beginning of the pattern, and you have all the fuel. It's the first maneuver, all the fuel is in the plane. Plane has a totally different feel than at the end of the maneuver. It just snaps a lot quicker because the fuel is almost all burned off. So what can happen, and it's happened to many people, is they'll practice at the end of the flight doing these real nice low wing over pullouts. Immediately go out, refuel the plane. Now try doing it with 4 ounces of fuel in a plane, and you put the plane in, or have a scary, should we say scary session. So that's another good little beginner tip. And the other tip is never have donuts in the morning. Oh, my stomach hurts so bad. If only I could have resisted those donuts. I'd be so happy now. Yeah.
Turn right, turn right.
Now you gotta let your son ride in the toolbox. They make you walk, make them carry you. You're the star.
You gotta ride. They got 2 good guys on that box. Get the...
I like, this is Pennsylvania. Oh, they got a car battery.
A little slave girl to fan you with some feathers.
I like, this is Pennsylvania. When I was a kid, we had a car battery, and we'd carry it. Every shirt had a piece missing from the back.
Got a mic. Yeah.
It's over here.
Oh, it's a 6-volt too. The thing's a classic. It's a collector's item.
Probably, yeah.
Wow. We're gonna start making toolboxes down at the shop.
Are you?
Anybody's, you know, those things like replica tool. Yeah, the guy that owns the shop wants to start making them. He's slow.
Bingo.
We know a quick customer. Send the Kanuski brothers doing them.
No. That means you need the carbon fiber lining.
Caught on video, Al Knight tripping on his own lines.
No, he tripped on Roy's line.
Hey, Al, what'd you have for breakfast? What'd you have, donuts for breakfast? Oh, boy. Hey, Mary, did he ever fly before?
Yeah, performing in New York.
He uses that thing that he had donuts for breakfast as an excuse for everything. Nice earrings. Old Thunderbird with the upright motor here. Yeah, day looks like it's holding up. Mary, show me what Al looks like when he flies. Oh, I got a stomach ache. I got a stomach ache. Oh, I got a stomach ache.
No, he's gotta go to the bathroom.
3 points. Go to the bathroom, right. I know the feeling. 0.5 from his wife. His best friend, 4.2. Carlos, the Portuguese judge, the Angolan judge, 3.8.
3.8.
You guys don't know how to have fun. That's the whole problem.
That back flip was great.
Oh, man. I got that on video, by the way. I'm consulting with Tom Hampshire, club lawyer.
She's the Russian judge.
Get out of here, you stomach ache. Now, let me ask you, Tom, is there a chance I can get off with 20 years if I plead guilty? Ah, Ron, you better plead guilty. You'll go to jail. Hey, Al, what did the dog give you for that flip? 5. While his father rots in a Mexican prison cell, Brian Kiefer is busy practicing so he can retain his junior championship, while Kyle Freeman builds a new plane. I don't know, man. This junior competition is really heating up here. Lawyer say, Ron?
He said I did the smart thing.
You plead guilty, you get 20 years?
No, he said I did the smart thing.
I think you should confess, Ron.
Oh, yeah, right.
If I find out you're in the Bahamas with a yacht next month.
You know what? I'd love to be in the Cayman Islands on a yacht. But,
you and a Don Vesco.
you know, I don't even have enough money at this point to get the airplane ticket. Matter of fact, after I paid that $13 bill to Wendy Urtnowski, I'm really broke.
Oh, by the way, he did pay his bill. Can you believe this? He is now. He joins the ranks of people that don't owe me money, the very small group of people in the world. Very few. I think Hampshire's a good lawyer, Ron, and if he tells you to plead guilty, just plead guilty. That's all there is to it.
I had nothing to do with it, you know.
I mean, 20 years is not that long. You'll be out when you're 94, you know,
Yeah.
no problem.
92 if good behavior, right?
Plane, how many colors is on it?
7.
And you're going with the old dead reliable PA-51 with a pipe, right? Goodbye, Brian. Kyle Freeman's gonna kick your ass all over the circle, boy. Goodbye to that program. I thought you already went through that once already. You didn't learn, though, did you? Nope.
Gotta learn for the second time.
The 3rd time, the 5th time.
I want to work my...
Here we go, in the trees. Oh, he saved it.
Picking up everywhere. So maybe next weekend it'll be out.
Check out the pull test thing here. Look at that pull test, guys. Hey, Brian, send me some pictures.
Yeah, we'll send you
Some
pictures.
photos, yeah, for Stunt News.
Yeah.
They're looking for nice colored pictures now. They're gonna, the next issue is gonna have colored pictures in it.
Really?
Yeah, get some nice pictures.
The first shot, they came right.
The plumber. That was the same one that made the papers here.
Now let's see if Mary has a stomach ache here. Look at the look on her face. Look at this look. I don't know, Al. You know how to set a needle valve. Give it, do this, Al. Look at the look on her face. Oh, she doesn't have a stomachache. Maybe they didn't eat in the same restaurant this morning. See, Al, that's what you have to do. Just let your hand hang. Don't go for that belly button deal. Start picking a lint out of your belly button in the middle of a flight. Yeah, actually, the day is hanging in here. But unfortunately, we're going to have to leave. We have commitments. We have been committed to a mental institution, I think.
Somebody broke in, stabbed him.
You know, just having a good time.
I'll dry out. You better get some nice pictures of this new plane.
No holes. See that?
What kind of cockpit you have on your new plane, Brian?
What?
You got a cockpit on a new plane?
Pilot? Instead of saying Windy, it says Brian.
It says Brian?
Yeah, you have Windy there.
What's the pilot look like?
I thought things stopped
Oh, that's a regular pilot.
Normal pilot?
Yep.
Well, I can't wait to see the pictures.
It's got a turtle deck.
As soon as I get the pictures, I'll send you the exhaust manifolds. No pictures, no manifolds.
Okay.
Bob Lambert.
Look at that nice shirt.
One on the back too, Bob, don't you?
Yeah, what's on the back? Marilyn Monroe? That looks good.
Just my butt.
Your butt, huh? Nice shirt. Roy Ward needs just a few more patches on his shirt.
Bob, what are you playing? Mistake.
Spruce leading edge and trailing edge. A couple of flats of
Wait a second.
spruce too.
That's what you have?
Spruce.
That's what you have?
Spruce, maybe
Yeah.
basswood, whatever.
Okay, yeah, I have those, yeah.
Pretty cool.
Yeah. Monaco hinges.
Huh?
I mean, this looks
Yeah,
like.
it looks like you could build that in an hour.
What,
Yeah, right.
oh, you have you
Adjustable
you do
tip
one
weight?
each?
I got to
Hey,
reverse
with
them.
this
Bob
arrangement, you can
Lambert.
put adjustable lead outs, no
Yeah,
problem.
yeah.
And if you wanted to, put some half ribs and throw some tissue over it, you've got a full-blown airfoil.
That is a great
Or
little
a piece
idea.
of foam cut and laid on top.
That's a cool little idea.
Yeah, it's pretty slick.
Now, what's the order?
According to that chart over there.
This one?
Yeah.
This?
Pretty
Brian, remember that little half A we flew in Flushing that time?
Prowler.
Little half A Prowler, yeah, that was cool.
Mary nine.
I still got wings for that.
Yeah, I remember. You never paid me for those wings. I remember.
Mary nine.
$13.
Pizzovko.
Yeah, they come in by trailer truck, by helicopter, by seaplane. Carlos is going to be using a
He's asking-
videotape
you
to
was asking
videotape
who's,
the beginner flights and give them a rabe sheet and a score
Yes,
sheet all at the
please.
same time.
Beginner.
I look, I got
And
8 or 10
intermediate.
people here. I can't tell.
What?
Beginner.
So, and because I have to leave, I can't be involved in that part of it. So, maybe lucky for them. Maybe lucky for me. I don't know. This is an idea that Carlos started, I think, 3 years ago, because 2 years ago I was able to stay today and do the taping, and they give everybody that enters the contest a tape of their flight, the score sheet, and a rabe sheet to kind of give them some pointers for improving their pen. It's a real nice thing. Works out real well. I said the only reason I can't be part of this is because of the obligation of things to do over at the houses. Al Knight setting the needle valve. Doug Log, one of the club's relatively new people. Looks like they have a flight streak. And on the other end you can see they've got judges, videotapers, Al Raid Feast. You leaving? Yep. All right, see you later. I'll see if I have any of those exhausts home. I don't know if I do.
Yeah.
Well, I will. Hey, look who's here.
Windows, what do you know?
Windows 95.
Catholic by day, kosher by night.
Cardinal O'Connor says you can't start the contest early because it's keeping the kids out of mass. I don't know.
Oh yeah, where is he? All right, he came, he saw, we counted. Good see you.
Mary, are you sure that's one of the maneuvers? Poor Doug just whacked his plane.
Yeah,
I think it's Mary's fault. I think that's Mary's fault. Nice barnstormer coming in here. We got some more people filtering in. What did you say? Okay, Doug, just crash now.
What's that, Wendy?
What'd you say to Doug? Just crash now. Carlos looks bored.
Oh, I'll be proud of you.
Oh, man. Give him something to videotape.
When the cameras are rolling.
Let's see what Peabody gave him on that landing. Rich Peabody, one of our official Nats judges, giving Doug some pointers now. That's what's nice about a day like today. It's kind of a low-key day, and actually the weather is holding out.
Is the canopy on the inside? Or is it going in?
Alive, huh? Still alive and ready to fly.
Yeah.
I got the double star.
Oh, you did?
Next time you see the plane, yeah, I'll have the double
great.
star in it.
Yeah, I redid the tank on the Cardinal.
Got it all redone?
Yeah, it's all
Fantastic.
redone, ready to
Okay.
go. I figured I'd bring this out today.
Yeah,
And,
get some
give
flights.
This a try, 'cause this has no time on it.
Well, today's a good day. You'll get a whole day of flying. They're not using the circle all day. They
great.
the beginners want to use the grass circle. So
Yeah. All right.
get a couple flights before I leave.
Yeah. That's what we'll do. I just gotta change the prop.
Tell me the truth, did Mary really cause that crash? Mary, I heard her yell out, Doug, crash, crash.
We'll get the crashing again.
Yeah.
That's all I think it is. It's got a balance. Well, that one stopped right out.
Yeah.
What, you got brake?
Boy, you know.
You're right.
Can't break that prop. Was that
Bad balance.
Diamond shape.
You were asking about Krylon, Rust-Oleum paint
Yeah, you use Rust-Oleum on there?
on the fuse
like a P39?
and Monogut.
That looks real good for Rust-Oleum. Well, Rust-Oleum's enamel.
Wedding-weight
That
glove.
looks real good.
We'll find out if it burns from paint.
Well, let's go find out. You're not going to find out standing here. You got to fly it.
Hey!
I'll tell you, that looks real nice. Really nice.
Didn't have time to finish it though.
That enamel that I used on the,
Yeah, the stove.
unbelievable. That stove looks better than my plane.
Buffs out good.
Buffed out beautiful.
I was surprised.
Gorhams.
Well, that thing, yeah, when I buffed it,
Yep. Gorham's will work on Rust-Oleum too, you know.
Yeah, that's what we did.
Yeah, it'll buff it right out. Rudy's the king of Long Island buffing now that Macaluso drowned water skiing. I heard you guys pulled the plug on his boat or something so he wouldn't be around. Mean people, wow.
Yeah, somebody's got to do it. He's waterlogged.
Well, next weekend.
23rd.
Well, you guys still have the field, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's not underwater or anything, is it?
No, I haven't been out there since, but Mike is, what they're trying to do is throughout the summer, they're going to different parks.
Right,
and have
right.
some demos. So,
Good, yeah, that's good.
I'm going to fly in the demo with them. Stay pickled for the winter.
Pull, obviously, put a wrench in there and pull test it if you put a new thing on.
I will.
They're all installed. They look great down at his shop. Perfect.
I have more drawers for him and some more...
Perfect. Yeah, that worked out real nice. He's got it really working at his shop now that he's working on foam every day.
I told him I had more for him, but he didn't act fast.
Well, he only has 900 square feet. He doesn't have, like, you know, the Coliseum or something.
Countertops. That was office. That was office counters. And I had actual countertops with splashes on it. Like...
Oh, how's Karen?
It's doing good.
Right. Yeah, what did you...
I think we found the problem.
Whoa! Hold, let me put that on the tape. That's a good thing to look for. Now this is off your little Cardinal?
Yep, this is off the Cardinal. You couldn't see most of it because of the spinner.
Yeah,
Plus when it's sitting there and it's...
Boy, that could come out and hit you right in the face. Now what is that from? Do you know?
Maybe when I landed inverted.
Yeah, it could be when you landed inverted. You bent. You know what? That's a good thing that anytime you land inverted, take the prop off.
Change it.
Well, change it. You know, don't have that. That's definitely a problem.
I think that's the reason why it was vibrating so bad. And
yeah. Because it wasn't vibrating until you landed inverted.
Right. And then we couldn't even see that crack.
No, but it's definitely dangerous.
It just looks like it's part of the grain.
Yeah.
And now it's a little dirty because handling it and all. But when we started it up that last time, it didn't want to run right.
Don't glue it or anything. Just throw it away.
Oh yeah, well, best thing to do.
Yeah, that's what you do with a bad
That's it.
Best move you
Don't try gluing them or anything. Remember Jimmy Casal trying gluing carbon fiber props back? Gluing the tips on the blades and stuff? Oh my God.
When I was a teenager, I had a job in a prop shop.
Oh.
Reconditioning World War II hammer.
Yeah.
When they were warped, we had standing orders. When you find one that's warped, you put it on the deck, you get a sledgehammer, and you bang a hole in it.
So nobody puts it on a plane.
Right then. Stop what you're doing.
Yeah, you kill somebody.
Yep. The boss of us, Ernie Kallenberger. Tough guy.
Tough guy.
No nonsense.
Finally looks like we have a little block of time here. We're going to be able to actually make the retrofit to the double star. And what it is, I've had a couple of days now to think about it. There's several choices. One of them was to have an extension unit. I really didn't like that choice much at all. That means every spinner and prop has to get recut. Now because this engine is a little heavier than a double star, one of the things that would be to our advantage would be if we could move the motor physically forward in a plane. That would help maintain the CG. But again, we have a lot of choices here. Now, one of the choices would be is we could even take this motor, put an extension unit, and shove it further back by just dremeling out some of the wood. But again, I want to have all the choices. The only trim problem that's really been a little bit of a nuisance with this plane is the fact that it is top heavy. The top of the plane is heavier than the bottom, and it causes it to need the trim tab on the outer wing. And once the double star is actually in here and we get some test flight, we'll be able to either readjust it or eliminate it depending on how critical that becomes. We have the spare tank, so without even, I've had enough time to think of this. I'm going to gut the whole nose of this plane and then start laying out the various situations that we want to try to use. Now remember, this was the dented tank that we made up, and what I like to do is I put in my notebook now, What exactly was this setup? This is the last time we flew the plane, was the winning flight at the Circle Burner Profile meet. So what we want to do is maintain that. This tank was exactly 1/4 of an inch above the engine, the center line of the tank. So I want to clean this up. Obviously I put a little fuel in it. Another thing worth mentioning, if you go back on the tape, this little gizmo that we made worked out well, although I don't think it would have lasted as well. It looks like it has a little crack started already. Probably wouldn't have lasted through a season, but it certainly was better than not having an adjustable tank on a profile. Now, what I want to make sure I mention is, when you set one of these up, if it's dead even with the glow plug, it's going to run so erratic, so much different upright and inverted. And the best compromise, if you wind up putting it up here, then you lose some of the maneuvers. The top of the vertical 8, the top of the hourglass gets crazy. So what you have to do is come up with a compromise. And these are the things that'll work well. If you can get the tank, if you have the vent coming out the bottom or whatever, the tank close to the motor always is better than back. That's one of the things we've learned, is specifically from this motor. It's very sensitive to where that tank is. Also, too, if you have the tank, and I experimented with this, if you put the tank like that, or like this, some kind of cockamamie angle, well, in a way you can make some little gains on a vertical 8 and stuff, but you really never get it all. And that was one of the little concerns that I had. I never had a position for this tank anyway where I could get it to run the whole flight exactly the same. When I traded away the inside rounds, I lost the top of the hourglass, top of the verticals. So anyway, but I want to keep this setup. The setup certainly is good enough for 99% of the people that are going to fly the plane. The other thing is, I want to keep the motor intact while I have it out of the plane, is check the screws, make sure all the screws are tight, make a little notation of the needle valve setting, which was about 2 turns out. And also, I wound up liking the air filter basically to keep junk out of the engine. This is an ABC engine. Also, of all the mufflers, and we really didn't do enough experimenting with Art's muffler, but this is the one that seemed to work the best. It's got 10 holes. This is the one you can get from Bill Mazzoni. 10 holes on each side, usable for profiles more than anything, with 5 of the holes blocked up and 1 with a pressure fitting. And that was the best compromise. So having all this and the prop, 11¼ inches, it was a 13.4 AHM cut to 11¼ So I've made notations. I have this whole setup, and this will all go into a plastic bag now, because what we want to do later on this week, hopefully Tom Hampshire is going to be here. We're going to do some little tricky stuff that he normally does with the motor to try to make it a little more friendly. So again, then we have the stock motor, the reworked motor, and the double star. We'll have many choices. But one of the criteria is we want to be able to change the motor right at the field so we can go back and forth and compare, an accurate comparison of the motors. What I like to do too is even just leave the needle valve set right where it was. And once you have all these notations in your notebook, this is all set, either for Tom to do his little tricky stuff on the motor, or to and we'll be videotaping that, of course, or basically to put it right back in the plane, and you would assume we would be real close. We wouldn't have to spend a whole day fiddling around. Now, one thing I'm real happy about is normally this is where profiles have a tendency to crack, and this is what Aeropoxy has held up basically through a lot of flights, a lot of chip props. We have one little crack coming up here, and this is probably from me not glassing this. I really should have put 2 coats of glass on the nose. We'll have a way of fixing that, though. That isn't a problem. And the only spot it cracked here, and I had the gear break one time, a gear bend from landing at the club field, and I bent it back. I think I just bent it back too rough, and I put a crack in it. But that's about the only couple little chips in the paint up here. Everything else up here worked out as solid as a rock. This is even clean. This is where the motor was rubbing on that. That's not a crack. We'll crack it all in the fillets there, so that's a good sign that Aeropoxy is doing a good job. See, even one little tip like that is worth the whole time of sitting through a video. What I want to do, I just temporarily put the spinner on so I can get an idea how far back this is going to have to go. Now it looks like one of the things I'm going to be able to do is possibly use the front hole as the back hole, and then just maybe add one hole with one set of blind nuts here. Again, this is the first time I've test fitted, so I really don't know. We're going to have to see. But I want to get the I was really trying like heck not to have to put extension units of any kind on here. But again, I'll see when I get this all assembled. I do have 2 or 3 little extension units I can try. It would be nice if I could get it back though. This is one of the extension units I have. And boy, that looks like a perfect fit, except that would require drilling everything out. Really hate to do that too. There's another one. What I have is I machined some back plates right onto extension units years ago. And this one's not going to work either. Again, this is made for a Tiger. It actually replaces the thrust plate. Problem with all of these is you have to drill all the props out, and then you wind up with 2 sets of. This is not even going to work. Now, one thing in a double star's favor, it really does have some crankshaft meat. Some of the motors, like the 51, have no extra thread, so you really wind up between a rock and a hard place. Anyway, it looks like we're going to have to drill some holes here, so without further ado, let me get drilling. Before I do any drilling here, I want to stuff some wet Kleenex into both the exhaust and the intake. And what I want to do is open these holes so they're just a little bit wider. So this will allow me to use the original bolt hole in the back, I think. But I don't want to take any more material off than I have to here. Now, I didn't move the holes front to back, just opened them up wide. Now that'll mean this will fit where a normal double star does with no problem. I'll use heavy washers on this, of course. And one of the things that allow me to do is use this motor right back in that plane, but I won't be able to use one that doesn't have this modification. Now, of course, the next thing is to clean the motor real good with an air hose, get all those chips off. And one of the things I want to know, I took the engine without a prop nut or washer, exactly as we had used it, and I want to get an accurate. You always hear people saying, oh, it's 12 ounces, it's 8 ounces, it's 10 ounces. Well, what it really is, at least for our comparisons, it's 285.5 grams. Now we want to know, we know the double star is lighter, of course, but we want to know how much lighter. For our own pearl, we want to take this nut off. Get a rough idea, because this is going to take the weight off the top of the plane. The whole idea is to get the weight off the top of the plane, if possible. This is 180. It's 100 grams difference. So you don't have to be a genius to figure this out. It's 105 grams difference in the engine. Three 3.75 ounces lighter. Almost 4 ounces lighter. That's a considerable amount. Now, so what that'll mean is we can really get 4 ounces of weight off the top of the airplane and off the nose at the same time. And because the weight will be a little bit further forward in the plane, that'll make up for some of it, but not a whole lot. But it still means we're probably going to start by needing some nose weight to get us back into square one. Or else we're going to be able to experiment with some real far back CGs before we do that. Since we have to reverse the needle valve needs to come out the top for a profile. One of the things I want to do, I want to look here where I have the hole that's facing down, and I want to take my engraving tool and just put a little dimple, and that helps me line it up when I put it back in the motor. I don't have to guess at where that dimple is. It should be, at least it was, facing straight down into the venturi. So when I put it back in the reverse side, I want to make sure the hole is facing straight down into the motor. That's what's handy about having one of these little engraving tools. For little jobs like this. And it's good to rest it on something solid when you're doing it. And what that'll allow me to do is when I get this into the motor, I can rotate it until I see it's facing straight down at the engine and then lock the nut on the other side. Well, I mentioned the little things that could use some attention. You see how nice they serrated the back, the thrust back plate? Well, that's great. The only problem is the washer that normally would go in the front, and since we're probably going to need nose weight, we won't even use this, but I'll serrate this anyway. Just with the engraving tool, just make it rough. We'll take a Dremel wheel or take a hacksaw blade, something, make it rough. You want a rough surface. Every surface that goes around the motor to the prop connection to the spinner connection should be rough like that. And by the way, that is a nice knurling job there. Oh, by the way, you can see this now. If you can see the little dot faces right down. What I did, I laid the motor in here sideways, took the ice pick and just centered my two holes, and I want to drill these real slow and carefully. And I'm going to have to remove some of this material around here with a Dremel tool to line up against the slots that I've been using for the K and V. Okay, now next thing I got to do is get in here with a Dremel tool and Dremel out some of this material so I have a flat surface here. Okay, now I had to grind a little bit out back here because what happens, the motor has 3 backplate screws, so one of them sticks way in. So I wouldn't want to leave that in raw wood. I want to put anything that's raw wood right now, seal it up with some thin CA, even a part of the motor mounts that we've Dremeled away, get some thin CA on there. Anything that looks like it might seep fuel in eventually. A good way to do it is paint it on with a Q-tip and just let it kick without kicker. What I need to do is carefully run a Dremel real slow in here because I want to get blind nuts in these holes. Now, one of the things I had considered was putting those brass inserts in here, and I know that, well, they worked, but in time they fail, so I want to make sure this is bulletproof. And I want to have that option of switching motors, so with these cleaned out, I hope what's going to happen is I'll make a little cover like a pistachio shell, like a valve cover for each one of them. And I can also at the same time cover up that little spot where the paint is cracking. Okay, now we can just fit some blind nuts in there. Put blind nuts in there. Again, I want to seal this with thin CA. Try to harden up and seal the wood just to keep fuel and oil out of there. Now before you put any of these blind nuts in, I want to get a little bit of grease, as I always do on the bolt, a little bit of chain lube. Just so that if a little bit of CA or epoxy or something winds its way in there, I don't wind up having everything lock up solid. This may still need a little grinding before I can get it to fit in. But and what I did, I put heavy steel washers on the other side just to give me a little bit of extra security there. Now, of course, I got to trim the bolts. Okay, the only thing left here as far as the bolts go, this worked out real well, by the way. This was nice and solid. We got the needle valve reversed. This will require a very small spacer I'll have to make up or find something that works. The nuts are seated in there. I filled that in with thick CA. Now I have to grind a little piece of this nut away. That's the last thing. Then I want to fill these holes with some material just for a cosmetic reason before I make up those little valve covers. I don't want to have a big hole in there where the nut can be rattling around. Now what I want to do, I want to make up a little filler material. This is 5-minute epoxy. Put some Cabosil in it and some yellow dye. So it'll be like a paste. And it'll just be a fill material. By the way, that's a good way to do it. That probably is your best shot at keeping goo out of there. And it'll act like a semi-cosmetic repair until we get the valve cover, those little false valve covers made. Now anytime you make a little concoction like this, a couple of things I learned the hard way. Always mix the epoxy first. Don't put the dye in and then mix it all at once. Mix the epoxy first. This is always the best of all possible choices. Have the epoxy mixed. Then you want to add some Cabosil to this. By the way, Ken Thompson is now a distributor for Cabosil. You make yourself up a little paste. So you're used to using these materials. These really are convenient and serve a lot of purposes in the world of repairing, just like Bondo does in car repairing. Now I want it thin enough that it gets into that every little nook and cranny, of course. And all I want to do is add just a dot. Even though we're not going to see this, it just makes it a little bit more workmanlike to have the yellow dye. I'll put a couple of drops of yellow dye in here. Another little tip, don't overdo the yellow dye. You just need a drop. By the way, all these materials are relatively inexpensive. You really can experiment. I want this material, this little paste, thin enough that it'll get in there. Of course, I have some chain lube on the bolts. Now I don't really care if it comes up even. I just want to get some and just wiping it and just keep using a new Q-tip to get around there. And that should do a good job of sealing it up. Pack it down in there if you like. This is going to get covered up eventually anyway, so. That gives you a little bit of security against getting oil in there. It's like the tank's going to mount up relatively easy, but one of the things I always like to do with any new tank, I flush this out. And it was perfectly clean. Woody did a great job on this. It looks like it's going to fit right in the same brackets. See, now that's a nice thing about the Brodak brackets is they're interchangeable. That's one of the things that's really nice, is you make two tanks with the two brackets and you can snap them right in. It's always these little edges here that are a problem. And they'll, especially on a profile where it has to make some bends around. Now I noticed one thing, a lot of people lately have been painting the tanks. I don't know, maybe that's one of the things we'll wind up doing here. If we get this thing, obviously the first thing is to get the tank shimmed and so you're happy with the run, make sure it's the right size. I don't know how much fuel this motor is going to use relative to the K and B. I like to clean it all up. I'm pretty well closing in on having this put back in one piece. I have all my extra parts in here. The extra tank, this is the original tank, the original K&B muffler that we weren't using. Some extra little screws. But one of the things I did save, and this was an excellent idea by the way, was having that little cork gasket in back between the body. This is Peter Michael's little invention, and it works well. So I'm going to mix up some glue, get that right on there, and then trim it off so I have a piece of cork between the tank, like acting like a gasket. It's really automotive gasket material. Now with that glued right in position, I can take a nice brand new XL blade and just trim it right off. This is a great idea, Pete, by the way. This worked well on the original tanks that we had. Yeah, that little gasket worked out nice. This is one of the nicest features of any of these John Brodak tank mounts. As you can, especially with the gasket in there, it gives a wider footprint. It should absorb some vibration, but you have this infinite amount of adjustment. And I'm just guessing where we're going to start. Probably a little bit above center, but not a whole lot. I'm sure this motor is going to have a different tank adjustment than the other one. Now, one of the things I wanted to show is to get the tank level on the initial. What I try to do is work it this way. Is reference off of the fins of the engine. And it's pretty good. Amazing. You sure don't want to have it up or down or something crazy. One thing I did was I shortened the needle valve, just rebent it and clipped off the extra. Because there's two things. Number one, it was so long that what was happening, when you flipped the prop, you'd wind up hitting it with your finger. I didn't like that, of course. The other thing, too, if you ever have the misfortune of having a land inverted, I don't really want to unnecessarily lose the needle valve. Which is exactly what happened to Rudy Rybeck, and we try to learn from each other's mistakes here a little bit. Needle valve doesn't really have to be a whole lot longer than this. In fact, this is even a little bit long. Yeah, that's fine. Now the last thing to do is fit up a couple of mufflers. One of the ones I want to fit up, I want to check. Since we have this one from Big Art already, I'd like to see if we can re-drill it out so it'll fit on the double star. And I don't know if we're going to be able to do that, but this was one of the ones that I like for the simple reason it gets the weight down low in the plane. I'm trying to get an edge-to-edge dimension here. We can get an idea. Now what I may be able to do is use one of the holes and just tap another one. No, that's not going to work. Now can I tap two? Yeah, I probably could tap one. It's just not enough material to tap one on one side. Boy, it's almost like you made it this way. Now see, here's one of the little improvements that double star could take advantage of. The dimension is 1/425 center to center. Well, all the other mufflers, you know, they're like all Super Tiger mufflers are 1.5 inches. Well, you know what? You can't use a K and B, and you can't use a Super Tiger. And see, this is one of the few things that's annoying about when you don't have standard stuff. Now you have to go buy a whole different muffler, or make, or adapt, or whatever. When all that stuff should be standard. It's 1.5 inches, 1.5 inches. Should be 1.5 inches. One of the things. This is why I always have a box with a bunch of my old parts that I'm not using anymore. I made this strap up for the old Double Star 60 for Joe Adamusco, and it's starting to look like this might be one of the only ways we're going to get this on here, is to use this same strap and make it a little bit thinner. Again, I guess you could just order the muffler with the right holes, but just a piece of ordinary old, I don't know what you would call it, threaded rod. And I don't want to take a chance with the bolts towing in or towing out that it's going to stress the case or break these little ears off, either way. Now that strap worked out well. And of course I want to have the option of running muffler pressure, so I have that hookup already in place too. So here we have a part that we originally made for the Double Star 60. But keep in mind, hey, maybe Bill Mazzoni has these with the
the right spacing. If you do, Bill, send me one. Yeah, I know you're watching. Now all that's left here is a little, for tonight anyway, a little bit of touch-up paint here and there. Put a ding and a spinner too somewhere here. And of course tomorrow we'll try to get some bench running on it. See if we can get, we're not going to get any flying for the next couple of days, but it's pretty much ready to go. Now I like having that needle valve a little bit low like that. Again, the tongue muffler with the strap, depend on Mazzoni to get us one. What else? What else tricky? The Midgley tank. We're going to start by using a prop, the same prop that we used for the K and B, and it'll give us some relative numbers. Real nice so far. And one of the steps a lot of people leave out is they never do any little touch-ups now. It's always a good idea, as far as I can tell. Just if no other reason than to keep gas and oil from getting in there. And we already sealed this wood with thin CA, so this should even make it better. Okay, tomorrow we'll try to work on this again and get those little blisters made up if we have time. Now in today's mail, do you remember the gentlemen that were, two guys that were here, Paul and John from England? And we made tea and crumpets for them. They had a great time. They bought a Cardinal kit. Got a Brodak catalog, of course, whatever. Anyway, they sent a real nice letter and a couple of pictures from England. Just want to run these by. The Milton Keynes modelers. Now, I'll read a little caption from a little part of the letter. For those of you unfamiliar with the geography of the United Kingdom, Milton Keynes is located in the lower half of the country, roughly midway between Loughton and Northampton, and more or less alongside the main north-south motorway. The club came into being in its present form just over 3 years ago, and during that time club chairman Mr. John Dixon has managed to secure the use of 2 superb flying fields. Let me tell you something, we don't have one superb flying field in the whole country of the United States here, so you guys better... Hey, we gave you Spitfires during World War II, didn't we? Or you gave them to us? I don't know. Anyway, we're going to have fun with these guys. I can just tell by the letter we are going to have fun. They're going to be at the Nationals. He made an SV-12, Freebird, that I could go on here. It's a 2-full-page letter, but we're going to be sharing the Nationals with these guys from England. Hey, and we are looking forward to you-know-what, P-I-Z-Z-A, baby. See you in Muncie. Bob Martens, of course, is a Boeing engineer, and he sent a real detailed dissertation on information that'll probably be totally ignored by the AMA and certainly by Pampa. You can bet your life on it. Anyway, this is the facts about stainless steel wire and music wire, and there's no point making a political statement here. You know this is going nowhere. But anyway, I wanted to know for my own information. I want to know because a lot of people think they know about wire and they have all kinds of scams and dreams and everything about wire, but they don't really know. And one of the differences is stainless wire and music wire are 2 completely different things. 302 stainless cannot be heat treated, and he's got the tensile strength of each piece, different yields. Anyway, I just want to have this for my information. Bob also sent some real nice pictures, and by the way, this was the day we were down there at Middlesex. I call it the Three Amigos Day. Some nice pictures here at a Brodak Cardinal. Another memorable day at Middlesex. Hey, we've been having a couple of good days there while the field is underwater. And of course the best picture, and this is what stunt is all about, the Three Amigos. The 3 Bambinos, the 3 bozos. I don't know what we're doing here. I don't know. Hey, but we did have fun. Bob, thanks a whole lot. And that really was a nice little report you gave me. And last in today's mail, but certainly not least, Jim Plaskin sent me this nice magazine. And in particular, this is why it's really appropriate. It's called Sport Aviation. He happened to run into this. It's in December '86 magazine. But this is what I want to try to replicate onto the Cardinal next time I get a little time to work on, is simulated valve cover blisters. Anyway, a real nice magazine, of course. We will add this to our collection. Several really unique, interesting things here. Harriers. But basically the biggest one of all, Old Tsunami. Hey, we miss you already. And we will be spending some time in the near future, I don't know when we're going to get time, getting these little simulated valve covers. By the way, this is a great thing to simulate. A lot of times you build a fuselage, and that's always the stress riser goes right down the joint between the fuselage and the top block or the shell. Well, that's a great little way of covering up a crack, making it oil proof. In the real plane, what's in there is the valve covers from the engine. Jim, thanks a whole lot. Okay, today Ken is over here doing some letraset and ink on his plane, trying to get this ready. We're going to try to fly it this weekend if we can. Getting the last, and this will be on a separate tape. We made an all letraset tape and all ink line tape, so that all that information would be available to somebody who really was intense about wanting to do it. But Kenny's working on this, and I have a project here that I wanted to work on today. I had done this, put the double star in, got this ready the other day, and I wanted to make these, I wanted to carve little, as I just showed, those Tsunami kind of valve cover blisters to cover those screw holes. And that's one of the things that, it's always a problem when you have to drill a hole in a plane, but you can always put one of those little blisters over it, and it kind of hides it a little bit, or makes it as least of an eyesore as it possibly can be. So let me carve them all up. I don't know if you noticed this is the Mama Robin. She's been sitting on 3 babies, and every day we've been following the progress of these 3 babies. It's really been a lot of fun. Except I don't like to go over there often. That kind of upsets her. And she's out foraging for food. All the fish are out foraging here. Now I carved these little guys up, covered them with CA, and then put a couple of coats of yellow on, and they're out here baking in the sun right now. So probably tomorrow I can put them right on. This is just a couple of, they're not even hollow, a couple of coats of thin CA. Everybody's seen this trick already. It's still wet. And tomorrow I'll custom fit those up, glue them in place, try to make a fuel-proof joint, and that should help cover that the unsightly hole that we had to make to add that blind nut. See, we got most of the plants in the last couple of days, and the yard is starting to really, this is the kind of year, the time of year, it really is nice to come home to a nice yard. Eat outside. We've been eating outside every night. We've been cooking hamburgers and, you know, just sitting out here at night with the spotlights on, feeding the fish and stuff. And they never get tired of being fed. It's amazing. Like me. There's just something about a nice backyard that, I don't know. When you're young, you don't seem to think it's important. You get older, and it gets more and more important to just be able to crash in your backyard at the end of a hard day of work. And I certainly count this as one of Karen and I's finest accomplishments. Just constantly working in this backyard. It really is a lot of fun. Now, anytime you have a bad letter, just like Ken is doing, just get the brand new XL blade out. You can usually pick them up with tape, but when they're in a group like this, you don't want to pick the ones up next to it. Those little valve covers are drying up real nice outside, so I would hope we are going to have exceptional luck with the clear today. Yeah. You'll probably blush and turn as white as if you were in a shower.
Something's got to go wrong. Maybe I'll put my thumb through the covering. Didn't we do that already?
It's still early in the day. Don't worry. You have plenty of time to screw this up. Yeah, there's stars on some of them. I don't know which
here's
ones.
Stars. Rub on letters, stars.
Yeah, but they're not Letrasets. I wouldn't use them unless they're Letrasets.
These
Those are
chart pack.
Ah, they're gonna melt. Some of those things melt when you use them, especially when they're old.
Well, there's
See
dots.
All right, a dot is okay as long as it's a Letraset. How about a $sign? That would be appropriate for this. A lot of $signs.
Well, oh shit, no, a piece of the S is missing.
Now today, we have a very short amount of time. What I wanted to do is get these mounted up. You can see what I did. I'm sure this is no secret how to do this. Carved these little things up, and these are on several of my planes already, this type of thing. You need to have a little way of mounting them while you're painting them, needless to say. And now I want to do some fitting. Usually it's easier if you hollow them out a little bit so that your own, in other words, when you go to blend this on, it'll always hit in the middle. So if you hollow it out, almost like making a pistachio shell, then you only have to deal with the edges. And by the way, this is a good thing if you have a repair on a plane, somewhere where there's a crack. Typically on a full-size plane, full fuse, it'll always crack there. Several of my planes have, even though I've glassed them. But this is a nice little way, and it adds that little semi-scale touch like the little Tsunami thing that we got in the mail, the little magazine. So it's kind of cool, kind of a nice, even if you don't have a crack there, maybe you just want to do it for appearance sake, like a griffin. And of course that you can carve them any size, any shape. Now I had a real nice experience this morning. I went out to the pond, and one of the fish that I have been treating for, Lucy is her name, for quite a while now, finally looks like she's making the recovery that we had expected actually for the last couple of weeks. It looks like some of her scales are growing back, and she's eating with the whole normal, the normal herd I call them, the normal pod of fish, and usually that's a good sign. Anyway, my career in fish medicine, I'm glad I know how to build model planes. But I did manage, only one of the 4 fish that I've treated so far has expired. But even that is kind of sad. I guess if you like animals, whether they're fish or dogs. And my baby robins, the 3 baby robins, are getting bigger every day. The mama's getting used to seeing me there. I'm trying to make a little indentation here. So you see these pens I get? They write so well. Anyway, now I want to kind of hollow that out with a little scoop. Now what that does, that allows me just to catch it on the edge without having this happen, where it's always buttoned up on the outside. It'll just fit up on the fuselage a lot easier. And what I was going to try to explain is this is, no matter when you go into a curved surface, especially like on a griffin type of blister, it just never sits right. So by hollowing it out, you really, this is the wrong one. Glad I know what I'm doing. I want to hollow that, and it's not for lightness. In fact, if anything, I ought to fill it with aeropoxy or something, make it a little stronger. But it will definitely be a lot easier to do that than to cosmetically fix this and then try to blend the paint. And see, I don't have any ink lines on this, so it's hard to, it would be hard to end an ink line somewhere here. Now sometimes you can use a gouge, a big gouge, a little gouge, as a good way to just, you don't need to thin it out. We're not looking to make a peanut shell out of it. What I'm looking to do is just put enough of a radius in there. In fact, if I could, I'd get a perfect fit there, but that'd be a little bit on the difficult side. And I want this as a solid glue joint. I learned long ago that these actually are doing something as far as vibration. Because where that crack is, that's where the stress riser is. So you can identify right away there's some mechanical things going on there when the motor's running. If you've ever held a motor in your bare hand, and I don't suggest doing that, but I have. I've held a motor in my bare hand and just got it to run out the prime. Boy, you feel the force in there. It's tremendous force. A lot of people think a motor is just hanging on like you scotch tape it on the end of the plane or something. It's not that at all. And I don't need to take a whole lot more material out than that, and it'll probably fit. I'll get a little bit better fit on it. And I had to take a little more material out of there.
I want to get a reasonably nice fit on this, of course. I want to make sure I get it as covering all of the defects that I can, of course. I think that'll be fine, just about there. And then I'll work on the bottom one, but I really had to take just that amount of material out. Okay, the next step would be to get some M600, totally clean that area out, get it perfectly clean. I'm gonna get all the wax and grit and compound or whatever. See, even this is coming out of this, by the way. Now, I just put a couple of drops of thin CA on there just to get it tacked in position. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix up some epoxy with some yellow dye in it and work it all along the edge to get a sealed edge. I didn't want to do it with all CA. I wanted to get it tacked if I could. But I want to seal it too. Now, I had that top one on, and I made these both oversized so I could trim this one back. I'm going to try to maybe cut, I'm trying to estimate how big I need to have this. I need to cut it back some. I need to cut it back a lot. But there's another point to this, is whenever you make these things, always make them bigger than they have to be, because then you can just run them on a belt sander, shorten them up. In this case, I'd like this one to be about 1/3, maybe a little bit more than 1/3 shorter. Okay, putting the bottom one on was pretty redundant to the top one, except I had to make it a little bit shorter so it would go around this little curve here. So now what I want to do, I want to take some Gorhams, clean this all up, and then I want to put that little seal of yellow epoxy around there, some 5-minute epoxy with yellow dye, to just to seal. Certainly looks better than those big chunks missing out of there. And as always, nothing beats Gorhams. You buy these $50 a can car polishes, nothing beats Gorhams. I'm just going to clean this up. I'm going to mix up some 5-minute just to seal it. Actually, it's probably overkill even having to seal it, but again, I'm trying to keep this plain since we hope it ultimately winds up in the AMA museum or something. John Brodak Museum, I don't know. Wendy's museum. My life is a museum. The man is a museum. Everybody's a museum. I don't know. Who knows what we're doing? More interested in having a good flying plane. Listen, this is just a point I wanted to make. Anybody watching this video right now, pay attention for 1 second. Anybody out there that is not getting 9 cents a minute, 24-hour a day, long-distance service, please give me a call. Leave your number and I'll call you back. It's no problem. I just stumbled upon one of the best buys in phone service ever, and I've become a dealer rep. So I would like to introduce you to it. If you're interested, please give me a call. I'll call you back so you don't even have to pay for the call, but roughly it knocked $100 a month off my phone bill. I could buy more Gorhams. Anyway, it's a business opportunity to save some money so you can afford to buy more Gorhams. And I think everybody, either commercial or residential, everybody should sign up with me. There's the whole deal. Anyway, I'm now doing that part-time, and I'm hoping to bring all my friends on board so we can all talk to each other for a lot less money. Anyway, a little buffing out goes a long way here. It really does make a difference. Now, whenever you mix up any epoxy with the dye, it tends to slow out the drying just a little bit, so this is exactly what we want here. It's a great little modeling tip. You can hide the seam a little bit better than if you didn't have this. Even though the yellow is not exactly the same, you can just paint that right into the seam. That's why I buffed it out first, so we would have a smooth surface and you could just wipe it clean. Great little trick for repairing. You want to take a nice paper towel and just try to get it off in one wipe, and whatever stay in the groove, that should seal it. And when it's dry, of course, I'll hit it with a little more Gorham's. Beautiful. I'm trying to force it down in there. And as it goes to cheese, of course, you get a little bit of warning. If you have to make an extra batch, who cares? Pack it right down in there. There's a little spot here that doesn't want to stay in. So you do it with your hand, that'll leave a little bit of a fillet too. Uh-oh, President Cardinal is calling again. Jeez, what a day. Now the only thing we need is the rarest of all rare things in my life. A nice day to go flying. And we're waiting. Double Star City. In fact, if I get back from the machine shop early today, I'm going to try to run this thing on the ground a few times, run this double star. See you later. I gotta say, I can't believe it either. We just have in the middle of a storm. Oh my God, there's hail coming down. It's whacking your car good too. Look at this stuff coming down. Oh my God. They're gonna wreck the poor little car. My fish. I bet these fish don't know what's going on. Look at this storm. El Nino strikes again. I wish we could move the car. No place, there's no place. How about your car, Craig? Wow, I guess we're just going to ride this out. Welcome to El Ninoville. Oh my God. And there I am buffing out my poor plane, and all the while I'm doing it, my car's getting destroyed by hail. You know, we're down here at Middlesex. This is the first day we're getting to fly to Nobla. And we're in some pretty crappy air, but it's a good day to do prop testing. Let's see all the prop choices that you have sitting out here. The few of the first flights with the BYNO, right?
Yeah.
And
these 6 wide.
It looks to me like it almost has exactly the same pitch as real close anyway.
The blade shape is the difference.
Yeah. Yeah, the top flight has more blade area at the tip where it really matters. The pitch looks exactly the same, but out at the tip you got more area. That's what usually does it, is that the area, the last inch of the prop. So let's try the top, make sure it's balanced. I think there was a price tag on it. Find one that's balanced out of the box. Well, let's give that one try and see if it brings the speed up to where we want it to be. It just was a little slow. It's a good day to do prop test. You can see look at this, the wind is blowing a plane around before we're even doing anything here. Whoa, whoa, it's getting breezy again. El Nino is kicking our rear end here today. But it's okay to do this kind of, certainly good enough to do this kind of testing, so we'll take advantage of this while we can. Don't you know we rented the field all day? There's an entry fee here of 1 pizza for lunch. How you doing, Jerry? Jerry Tarnowski walks all the way from Ohio. Yes, I did. Well, you're getting to be a regular here. When we cut the spinner out, you can see the wing bouncing around here.
Motor's coming on a lot nicer with this prop. Also put a Thunderbolt plug in to try that. But the air is just really uncooperative. And we're just basically going to take what we can get, do some more testing. Wow, so tell me when you're going to do stuff. He still has some nose weight in there you can take out even with that. Jerry's over there sitting in the shade, soaking up the sun. I don't know what tank, he just had a tank for this. Okay, a no bounce landing. Ah, nice, okay. You can live with that.
For Hopkins, and then Hopkins went away for reasons.
Okay, but it was a kit.
Yeah. Let me show you. It's got one of my very, very standard now front ends. There is plywood in it, but the plywood goes like so. And the engine sits on an RC mount with a a plywood and carbon fiber composite bulkhead. And enormous 3/4 inch long cross-grained gussets to hold that firewall joint together.
Yeah.
And then F2 back here, gusseted the same way.
With some quarter.
Aft, right. And, no cowl, just a scoop here to push cavitated air out from behind the engine. Just a cover plate that holds the gear in, contains the tank, and is also a torque box,
exactly,
torque
completes
box cover
the box.
Yeah,
it completes
the box and makes the nose hold together.
Yeah, that's a nice thing.
I don't know that I would trust. I've made these things work. My Jerseyan has an eggshell front end like this, and I've made them work very well. But without a cover to complete the box, I would be very afraid of it. If you don't want to do that cover, then build a crutch.
And that holds the gear in too at the same time?
Yeah, the gear comes out at the same time. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
And the gear is. This was a great, it's on pavement today, which shouldn't be. The gear does not go across, it comes in and goes back around here and forward again. So the torsion bars are a little less than an inch long. It's fairly stiff, 5/32 wire.
Whoa.
So we'll see.
Yeah.
I'm happy with the way it flies so far. This is the second day for a pattern. It's got 8 or 10 on it. And I'll get as far as I can with it.
Yeah, you had it here at the clinic, I remember that.
Yeah, and I got a couple of flights on it and horsed around a little bit here and there.
Yeah, every time I see that thing on South Park, oh, they killed Kenny, I think of his Nobler hitting him in the head or something. Oh, jeez. How many ways can we kill Kenny? Oh,
what a heartless thing to say.
No
down here sweating blood over a new airplane.
No respect.
And they're giving him the South Park special.
How big is the span on the tail, Tom? Wow, that's the biggest tail I've ever. That's like a PM tail.
25% of the wing area total.
Whoa.
It started with stock pieces and then it got the balance tips.
Yeah.
But
well, that should have some corner.
So far, it's the best airframe I've ever built.
Yeah.
Because I thought when I did it with the balanced elevators, that, well, I'll build it this way, and if I have to slice it apart and glue the balance,
you can always cut it down easier than adding something to it.
But so far, it's not a Hunter.
Yeah.
So how loud can I scream?
Well,
so
Spitfires all have these counterbalances. That doesn't hurt.
And they work. Now we gotta find Jerry's.
What motor's in there?
Thunder Tiger 46.
Thunder Tiger 46.
Which is, now, unfortunately, my NiCads went away, so I will have to lift it a little bit to get the clip off. No fire yet.
Oh.
Well, we're near the end of this tape, and we've been having a rocking day down here. Wind is rocking, air is rocking, low-pitch props are rocking, rocking chairs are rocking, rock and roll is rocking. It's been a good one, and hey, we'll just run out the tape on Tom's flight here. We have the K&D 40 here to test. We have the double star to test. We have Ken's Fox 35 to test. Tom's Thunder Tiger to test. You can see how bumpy the air is here. In the part of the season where we hope we'll be able to get some more flying. There's a couple more weeks to Brodak's contest. Get prepared a little bit. We heard good news. Larry Scarinzi is happily recovering from some surgery that he's had. He's doing well. Wish him well. How much is that, an ounce?
Ounce and a half.
Take it out. All right. Yeah, you don't need that. No sign that the plane needs that, that's for sure.
Sure felt like I needed it yesterday.
You're lucky assassination is not in style. Hey, we hope you enjoyed the tape, and we will be seeing you soon, soon, soon. Crank in one more turn of Ray Brudder?
Yep.
Is that the deal?
Yeah.
Yeah, but she looks like a good flying plane.
A full turn, though, not, you know, two half turns.
Yeah, 2 half turns. Yeah, that's what I do. And then if it's too much, then you got to bend the rod. And it looks like the air is not getting any worse anyway. It can't get any worse.
Yeah, once again, I seem to have picked the...
you always luck out.
Grand selected...
selected days at Middlesex to test the new plane.
The question is, who the devil selected
Oh, God. Well, as Jimmy Durante used to say, kind of hard to put it in words.
You guys, you have airplanes with you?
No, I just got back into 30 years.